Hi, this is Lono version 3 improvements. In this video, I'm going to cover the improvements that went into version 3 of Lono. Okay, so here's a summary of what we're going to cover, and it's also covered in this blog post, which I'll just go through. So first, what Lono is Lono is a CloudFormation framework. What it is, it provides you with a way to manage your CloudFormation templates and generate them and launch the stacks more easily. It basically automates the entire development workflow for you. It's something that it kind of organically grew into a framework. I never really thought I was going to write a framework, but eventually it came to be. I think I'm going to post another a video about that process. But anyway, so this is specifically focusing on the new features that are baked into now Lono. So I had to make some structure changes in how Lono worked. So before, Lono just had mainly a Lono config Lono file here. And you would declare your templates in there, but no more. It actually resides now in Lono config templates because there's another configuration now. There's config variables, and I'll cover variable support in a bit. But there were some structure changes that had to be made there from version 2 to 3. So that's why there was a major bump and also all these other improvements here. Lono has official documentation. If you look at the directory structure here, you'll see that the new directory structure. So a new directory structure, there's config templates, there's config variables, there's helpers, which I'll cover also. There's params, the param files, and there's the templates themselves. Okay, layering support. So this is the reason why I actually made improvements. I was working on creating two different stacks. One stack for staging, and one stack for production, and one stack for development. So multiple stacks. I was working on multiple stacks. And when I was codifying this, I was like, okay, well, this is a little bit annoying. I have to declare multiple kind of template declarations in the same file, and it was starting to look a little ugly. So it was bothering me a lot. I was like, okay, so how do I change this? So basically, I started thinking about this concept called layering, and this concept is nothing new. Chef has it, a bunch of other things have it, but what I did was I started implementing layering specifically for CloudFormation templates and how it could work to create multiple environments. So what layering is basically, here's an example for variables. There's config variables base. So Lono now has this concept of a base configuration, base stacks, base templates. So you put everything underneath this base folder, and that's kind of a special type of a folder. Everything under there basically gets made available to all the templates and stacks you create. So here are the base variables. So let's say you have a base AMI, or a better example maybe is the disk size. The base disk size you want is 8 gigabytes, so you specify 8 there, right? So that's how you specify a variable that's going to be used throughout the Lono templates here. And then you want to override it when you're, I'm using prod for short for production, but basically for production, you can name it production too if you like, but config variables, production variables. And then see, whenever you launch CloudFormation stacks with Lono, you just specify Lono _env, a Lono environment, basically, a prod, and then it's going to automatically merge and layer these files together. It's going to first evaluate all the variables in base, then it's going to evaluate all the variables in prod. And of course, if you're doing for stag, you just change this to stag, you create another file there, and then it's going to layer the stag ones and only the stag ones for your stag environment. So that covers layering support. Layering support is supported for both template configuration, share variables, and param files. And these are all new concepts, so let's just go through each of them real quick. So template configuration is actually, that's not a new concept. That's old, but layering is a new concept with that. And actually, I think maybe clicking this link will be a little more helpful. So template layering happens for templates. It happens for variables, which I just covered. It happens also for params. So you can specify different params, basically launch time parameters for CloudFormation, and then those will get layered too. And here's an example. Params base example. Here's the instance type. That's your base instance type. But for staging, you want to use a smaller instance because you want to save some money. So that's all you do. You just specify it there, and then it's going to automatically be layered. The template layering works similarly. There's a base templates here, so I've defined here template source example, here template source example dash prod. So I'm going to use another template there. So that's layering is now baked into Lono. And this is allowing me to create multiple environments with basically the same Lono templates and very quickly and cleanly. So it was something designed because I had need for it. Share variable support. So share variable support, it says right here. So this would before you can only specify variables in each template block. Variables are often commonly used between stacks, though, so this will result in the promiscuous use of the famous copy and paste programming technique. Yes, we all do it. So the templates started getting like really verbose and a lot of duplication. So because a lot of variables are just shared, and so I introduced this concept called shared variable support. So now you can write your variables. I have the link open here. Right here, share variables under this config variables folder here, and this is another reason why the structure changed. And then you can use it throughout all your templates, throughout all your template definition blocks also, and they also get layered. Okay, nested stack support. So nested stacks are when you have a parent stack and a couple of child stacks. And the parent stack references the child stack and maybe outputs, and then you feed it to another child stack. So you could do very complicated setups, and you could make basically entire infrastructures out if you're using nested stacks. In order to use nested stacks, you need to upload your templates to S3. For what it's worth, Lono didn't actually have S3 support, upload support until version 3, because I needed nested stacks. So now you can basically automatically uploads your templates to S3 based on configuration, and then you also have helper methods that can reference these the nested the path to your bucket. So this is see how you configure basically and tell Lono to upload the output generated CloudFormation templates to S3, and then there are these helper methods like template S3 path, template params. And for example, template S3 path is going to allow you to now basically reference that your S3 path, the full path to the child template from your Lono templates. It's a helper method. It's a built-in helper method. Okay, and the format extension detection. So this for a while, Lono, when you needed to require partial or when you needed to specify a template source, you will have to specify the template, the extension. I kind of like that because the explicitness of that, but then, there was something that I always felt wrong about that. So I tried with this version to remove the extension, and I was completely wrong about that. Removing the extension made everything so much cleaner and actually simplified the code a lot. So the format and extensions are automatically detected. The detection happens a little differently for partials versus kind of like the template definitions, but basically you don't have to specify extensions, and Lono will just figure out. So that's pretty sweet. Custom helper support. So this is something I've always wanted to add. Custom helper support is now baked into Lono. So what it is let's say you're building your templates out, and you have a method that you're kind of calling, or a lot of logic that you're calling in the view. What you want to do is you want to maybe put that into a helper method, and so I would hack helper methods into Lono by basically kind of like injecting in either the template or the view. There were kind of tricks I used, but you don't have to do that. You can just basically create a module. This is very much similar to actually Rails. Create a module under the helpers folder, and in whatever definition or whatever methods you define in this helper module, it's based on convention. You say you have to also name it my_custom helper, and then the module name needs to be camel case version of that. Then any method you define underneath your helper module will automatically have the full context of Lono's rendering during partial rendering time, or during rendering time. So it has access to, for example, let's see, partial exists. That's another built-in Lono method. So you could use that. You could use partial. That's a built-in Lono method, and then you could basically you have the full context. So that's pretty helpful if you want to write custom methods. Source name convention support. Source name convention support is, again, this is convention over configurations. This is kind of sweet. So before, you have to go template example.yml or source example.yml. Now you could get rid of the .yml because remember, the extensions are now inferred. They're detected automatically. But the sweet part is now, since this all looks pretty much the same, that becomes this. You don't even need the block because the source basically will default to the template path or template name here. So that becomes even shorter. Like this cleaned up Lono code a lot. Settings file support. Settings file support is a way to configure Lono's behavior that you commonly use, and there's some documentation around this too. So settings, there's different settings files you can create. You can create a Lono /settings.yml file in your current folder. You could do it in your user directory, and then there's the default settings, and you could kind of look at the default settings for, here's the source code, the default settings, for examples of different settings you can use. I believe there's a table here too that lists everything out. So that covers it. That covers all the improvements to Lono that I had to make here for to basically build the stacks for multiple customers. So hopefully you appreciate this. Let's summarize. To recap, okay, so these were the changes in this release, version 3. There were structure changes, so this is not backwards compatible with version 2. So if you're going from version 2 to version 3, watch out. Layering support. Layering support is huge. It allows you to create multiple environments with the same Lono templates. And when I say multiple environments, I mean across AWS accounts too. So this is why I think layering is very, very powerful. Shared variable support just cleans up a lot of duplication. Nested stack support. This is pretty powerful if you're using nested stacks. Format and extension detection. This makes it easier. Custom helper support, source name convention support, and settings file support. The official documentation for Lono is right here. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful. And if you like videos like this, feel free to like it to encourage more content like this. If you have any questions or you have suggestions for other videos, comment below. If you have DevOps infrastructure needs, check out BoltOps.com and subscribe if you want to watch more content like this. Cheers.